Alright, collectors, Optical 20 here for another Hot Toys video review, and this time it's an older figure, the Hot Toys Harvey Dent, one of the more elusive figures that I've been searching for a long time. Finally got a hold of it. It's sold out now, but you can still buy other, Dark Knight or Batman products at bigbadtoystore.com. Just click the link on the description. And like I mentioned, this is an older figure. I've been holding off on buying this guy because it's not the prettiest figure. It's an older one, so understandably Hot Toys is not that advanced yet when it comes to their head sculpt and their technology, so to speak. I believe this came out on 2009 for very cheap as well. And let me show you the box. The box is actually pretty cool. There's two sides of it. As you can see, the first one, that was the Two-Face side, and this is the Harvey Dent side. And also on the side, you get the clean version of Harvey Dent. And on the back, you're gonna see like the Two-Face version, which is a bit more darker. And on the other side, you would see what do you call this? The Two-Face version, where he's holding the darker jacket, so to speak. Let's do a close-up here. Dark Knight. Yeah, like I mentioned, it was. I'm trying to complete my Nolan line. A lot of people doesn't like that, but I did like the movie, all three of them. Regardless of what you think about the third one, I do like them, but this particular figure came out when I wasn't collecting yet, so it's a bit harder to track. And as you know, if you are watching this and you're trying to do the same thing that I did, it's fairly expensive. It normally averages to around 300 to 400 on eBay, which I wasn't really willing to pay. I find one finally for a price that I wanted to pay under 300, so I was lucky enough to get this, even though I still think it's overpriced. I was trying to gauge whether Hot Toys is gonna redo the figure, to be quite honest with you, because they did the same thing with Bank Robber Joker. But I believe after the flop that they have gotten from this line, from the Dark Knight line, considering how poorly the Dark Knight Armory has sold, and the Bat, obviously, and even the Bank Robber version 2, it took a while for them to sold out. And now with Gordon and John Blake not really selling anything, I think it's safe to assume that they're not gonna revisit this line or this particular figure anytime soon, because even this figure itself, when it first came out, as you can see, we're just looking at the box, it doesn't come with a lot of accessories. On the flap right there, that's where the jacket is, the burnt jacket. But going back to this figure, originally when it first came out, this was frowned upon because of the likeness and everything. It then came with a lot of accessories, and it was a lot cheaper back then. I believe the MSRP was what, 160 or 150, maybe even less. But yeah, you get my point. As you can see here, this is one of the hands. That is one trademark of Hot Toys back in the day, where the thumb, it has like some sort of cut. I saw that on my Perseus and some of the older figures that I had, but I didn't start collecting till around 2012, 2011, and by that time this has been already sold out. So unfortunately, I have to overpay, so to speak, for this figure. And he does have this thing right here, I believe, in Harvey Dent. It's not magnetized, so that kind of sucks, because kind of like pointless to have. I guess you could have it magnetized where you don't. I mean, you can make it like a real pin, but you don't really want to poke around their outfit so much. At least I don't, But yeah, being magnetized, I say, would help. So at least you have a use for it other than just holding it. And this is the coin. It's really small, as you can see there. That's the clean side. And this is I guess that was the dirty side, and this is the clean side, and you get two of them. They're really tiny, so I'm using a macro lens here. That's why it makes it look a bit better, but yeah, normally they're not. And you can see here, I got a gun right there. It's a nice revolver gun right here. This one pops out. There's That's the gun that he used when he was trying to shoot Commissioner Gordon's kid, right there. pretty nice looking gun. And the thing with this figure is that you can there's the handle right there. You can bash him because the custom head is widely available, but the jacket, this burnt jacket right here, is pretty elusive. I've never seen one on eBay. I mean, maybe I'm not looking hard enough, but there is a bash that you can buy, a complete outfit, but without the burnt jacket. So you're pretty much just creating Harvey Dent. Now, if you're okay with him not having the burnt jacket, you can easily bash this figure for around, I would say with the body, because the outfit and the head is around $90. That's shipped, but without a body. So I would say around $150, $170. You can get a pretty good Two-Face or just Harvey Dent, I guess, or Two-Face if you want to buy a separate head sculpt with that. And this is the head sculpt that is the burnt one, and he does come with a stand. The stand, I don't know if you can buy that elsewhere. That's probably going to be expensive because, you know, this guy is expensive on his own. And as far as his outfit, it's a guy in a suit, so there's really not much to talk about here. The tire looks pretty good. I guess you can buy that. You know, if we're dealing with a guy with no costume, I always say this, especially a guy in a suit or a guy in a police outfit, it's pretty easy to bash. So it's not that complicated, or you know, unless you are a hardcore collector. I'm not considering myself a hardcore collector. I'm more of you know, like a casual collector or a reviewer, so I buy things. As you can see, he doesn't have socks here. The one that I bought, fortunately, I guess he included socks, so if I wanted to put one, which I did, not on this one because I created a separate Harvey Dent, which I would show you later on, or in a separate video actually, on how I created it, and the cheapest route to go with it, because the suit itself, even for this is a clean suit we're talking about here, he doesn't come with separate pants, just a like a burnt jacket. The burnt jacket is pretty cool. That's something that you can't just buy on eBay as of yet. You know, I'm pretty sure one of these days, but you would think since it came out, they would do a custom jacket for now. But as of the release of this video, I haven't seen one yet, but I did buy a custom suit to create a separate Harvey Dent. And as you can see, the shoes as well is it's not made out of leather, but you can buy, which is when I bought this, he came with a nice shoe. And this is the clean head sculpt, which is, as you can see there, if it's lighted up, it's kind of cartoonish, especially the eye. These are the I wouldn't say dark days, but I've seen worse, to be quite honest with you. I've seen worse from Hot Toys, but this is not obviously their best effort. It's kind of unfair to expect the same quality of head sculpt they do nowadays from this figure, since it came out so many years ago. If they would redo this one, I would assume that the paint application would be a lot better, kind of like what happened with the Bank Robber version 2, where it's pretty much the same head sculpt, but it has improved dramatically because of the paint application. Because I would say that the sculpt is pretty good. You know, I guess it's just the application of paint, the eye. You know, he has blue eyes. I mean, you can see the actor in there, Aaron Eckhart, but it's not perfect. It's not perfect. Just kind of like with my Perseus. But this guy right here, I think it's phenomenal. Even though it holds up to this point, I would say, under a certain lighting. As you can see, I'm playing around with these lights right here. You can see the 5 o'clock shadow. I think even up to this date, it looks pretty good. And like I said, the reason that I bought this, that I bit the bullet, is because I honestly don't think they're gonna make a version 2 of this guy. The version 1 didn't sell really well. In the aftermarket, you know, it's going for a lot because it wasn't. Those are the days where Hot Toys doesn't overproduce their figures, so it became rare, and people suddenly realize, kind of like Hawkeye. You know, he's in the same boat as Hawkeye, but you saw what happened when there's another Hawkeye that got released, because there's another Avengers, the movie that came out. Now on this guy's case, you know, if you're gonna solely base it off Nolan's movies, he's not gonna come out because he's dead. So the likeliness of them making a version 2 of a guy that didn't sell well in the first place and also the likeliness of, you know, revisiting a line that hasn't sold particularly well throughout, you know, the past few releases is slim to none. So you have two options on this guy if you want to purchase him. Is A, if you want you know, that's the bird jacket, as you can see. If you want to purchase him on eBay or on a third party, which you are gonna shell out some serious cash, especially if you want him new. And there's a wide known problem with his knee as well, so you gotta keep that in mind, because the first batch, I guess, from what I've read, you know, I've done some research, that if you're gonna pick him up on aftermarket, there's a problem with his knee. And if you're gonna pick up, I mean, he wears his suit, so you can just buy a regular Hot Toys body. I would suggest Hot Toys body, not those knockoffs from eBay, the one that's $27 one. You can't post them, you know, they're flimsy. I mean, I guess you could if you just want him standing up, you know, with his hands down. You can get away with that with Harvey Dent, not with Two-Face, because with Two-Face, you know, you might want to do some, not even dynamic pose, you know, just kind of like his hand, you know, arms forward, like pointing the gun, because that's really hard to achieve on those knockoff bodies, because just a simple pose as, you know, raising his arm would cause an issue, because it would constantly go down, because the joints are not that great. But yeah, looking at the head sculpt right now, even though, you know, it's an older figure, I would say it still holds up pretty good. You know, you can put him on the same category as the bad head sculpt ones, like Arnold from it's not that bad, but yeah, you get what I mean. There's some bad head sculpts throughout, even though right at this point of Hot Toys existence, there's some Blake, for an instance. It's not that bad, but it's not that great. The problem, I guess, with these older figures is the texture. There's really no texture in the skin, unlike nowadays where you can see some freckles and the hair apps. You know, he's blonde and everything, but you know, it could have been better, but the dirty part is pretty good. And as far as size comparison, as you can see, all my Dark Knight figures here, with Bruce Wayne, two guys in a suit, looks pretty good. Even though, as you can see, the evolution of the suit right there, his suit is kind of baggy. That's one of the problems that I have. If you buy the custom-made suit, it has a nice fit on him, the $90 one, at least on eBay. But I don't know if but you know, I don't know if the fitting is accurate or the color is accurate. But if you futz around with it a little bit, you know, like I did with this pose right here, and he has this custom briefcase. I got that when I bought the figure. It came with it. You know, the guy was I bought it on eBay. He was nice enough to give me that sticker of Harvey Dent, funny enough, and he gave me this extra suitcase, extra socks, and some spare shoes, which is a lot nicer quality because it has some real laces and everything that I used to create a Harvey Dent. Because on this look right here, I took off the jacket. I didn't even use it. I bought a separate clothing from eBay to create, like I said, a separate Harvey Dent. And look, it worked perfectly. You know, I only spent around $40 buying ironically a knockoff body, because this is I just preach not to buy one if you are gonna use it for the Two-Face. But for Harvey Dent, arms down, you know, it would work, kind of like what I showed you earlier. And as far as Two-Face pose, kind of like this guy right here, and that's the bird jacket. I don't know how hard it is to do something like this custom by yourself. Never tried it, never will. I'm not that creative enough. But if you could, you can easily bash this figure, easily. The head sculpt is around $40 each. So if you're planning to buy both, you're looking at $80 just for the head sculpt. Sometimes it goes on sale for like $30, $35, or you know, something like that. But the body, so you're still spending a whole lot if you bash a figure. That's all I'm trying to say. But if you don't want to pay premium price for this guy, you can easily do it. Easily. The gun, I'm assuming you can buy it. You know, it's a regular revolver, silver revolver gun. So. And that's pretty much it. So to anyone that's planning to buy this figure, you gotta set a price for yourself, how much you're willing to pay. I personally wouldn't pay anything more than $300 on this guy, but you know, for $320, maybe I would say maybe I would spend that much if you really like the figure. or you're trying to complete the line. You know, that's what I did. I'm got the line completed. I shelled out money on this guy and Scarecrow, the set. I would I rather not, obviously, but I don't think they're gonna revisit those two figures. But yeah, like I said, if you're trying to complete your Dark Knight Nolan line, set a bar for yourself. It's a great looking figure. It's not excellent. Is it a standalone figure? Obviously not. You're not gonna buy him by yourself unless you're a big Two-Face fan, which I don't see a lot of people are. But if you're trying to collect the Dark Knight, and most of the Dark Knight things are available outside of DX11, this guy and Scarecrow, and maybe Bane. Most of them are hard to get if you're trying to collect nowadays. But yeah, so thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Share this video and like it. So till next time.